Welcome people of the World Wide Web. So it's the weekend and it's movie review, and as you can see, I've been to the cinema. Went Friday night for a change, very rammed, lots of young kids in the film I was going to see, and that is Five Nights at Freddy. So yes, this is the computer game Five Nights at Freddy, where you have to use spotlights to try and scare away the evil kind of creatures as you are a security guard. They have decided to take this, the movie studios have taken this on and made this into a movie. Now, there is one tiny little after credit scene. It doesn't really pay. It's kind of a little jump scare. It's nothing crucial. It could be leading up something big, but it's not. But for anyone who hasn't or isn't aware, I say I played the game, not too much. I don't know too much about it, so you have to treat this, treat my knowledge with a pinch of salt. I don't know everything. But this film is basically around Josh Hutcherson. He is a security guard, or ends up being a security guard due to a unfortunate set of events that happen in his life. He's stuck looking after his little sister, and he needs money, and he can't really hold down a job. And this is kind of the last job that gets given to him by his kind of career advisor, who's played by Matthew Lillard. Leads to probably the only kind of famous people that you'll notice in this movie. And then he goes on to patrol the kind of 1980s restaurant pizza place, which is Freddy's for Bars or something along the lines. I think it's called something along the lines of that. There used to be a pizza. Unfortunately, some kids went missing. It's been closed down, and then he's a security guard. The security guards keep going missing. And as you see, as time goes on, the animatronics come alive. It kind of says very early on in the videos of how they've got lithium-ion batteries. I don't know if that was a thing in the 80s, and it's basically just this story of learning like how they're coming alive, and there is some sort of possession, and a few people get killed. It is rated at 15. There isn't much violence, I would think, or you don't get to see much violence that is that gruesome. And what did I think overall? I thought it was an okay movie. I say I didn't go in it with high expectations. I have to commend them. Jim Henson's Productions did the animatronics of the stuff, and I did really like that. I did think that worked well. But yeah, the story and how they link stuff in, and obviously being from a computer game, you've just got to be a security guard to try and create a bigger story to it. I thought it failed in a few attempts. There aren't many actors and actresses that are in this, so kind of figuring out who is quite quick happens quite quickly. You kind of get where they are, and yeah, I say it just had a lot of holes, so to speak. I say like there were little bits that worked, there were little bits that didn't work. There was stuff. But that's by the by. I say it's only my review. If you like Five Nights at Freddy, a lot of the young kids who were there who liked Five Nights at Freddy seem to be very ecstatic and it quite like the music and everything else, and enjoyed the story. And maybe me, because I'm not the biggest fan. It is what it is. But okay, I will slap the spoiler warning up as I normally do, and we shall get into it. So the film starts with a security guard running for his life and then ends up being killed. Kind of out of frame. You don't really get to see too much, but it kind of distills the feeling that obviously something is coming alive in this. And then obviously you go to Josh Hutcherson's character. You learn that he's looking after his sister. His younger brother was kidnapped, and he is kind of in this cycle where he tries to sleep to try and bring back the memories of it. Now this I thought was a bit of a random point, but kind of comes back to the ending. I'm trying to keep away from too much, but yeah, basically he then unfortunately, he's a security guard at a mall. There's a misunderstanding. He gets fired. He goes to see Matthew Lillard's character, who acts very weird, and kind of, for me, this isn't the return of Matthew Lillard I want in this role. As people who watch his channel, Scream came out, the last one, Scream 6. I think he should have returned because they never found his body, and he should have been the villain in that movie. I think this would have been the epic. I think he was kind of wasted in this role. How he acts and stuff, I don't think kind of fits his character as much in this, but that's just me. He doesn't have a massive role in it. He's only in it for, I'll probably say 5-10 minutes, if that. Anyway, so Josh Hutcherson, due to a set of circumstances, ends up taking this night job because he needs a job. And then over time he ends up having to take his daughter because the person looking after his daughter unfortunately disappears. That becomes apparent in it as well. and obviously he's got his aunt trying to get custody of his younger sister. During the whole list, you do meet Vanessa, who is a police officer who does the route, who you can tell is kind of linked to things as well. It's it's quite obvious that stuff is, and people being erratic. I say you can kind of get where they're going, but it isn't kind of done in a traditional way, and I think that's where it loses people, maybe, or specifically it lost me. But yeah, and then you kind of find out that, and I'll say the spoiler warning's up. So basically, the 5 kids that went missing, they have been possessed by these creatures. They are kind of put into these creatures. It says you never really understand, and that there is this yellow bunny, and this yellow bunny is basically the person who controls them. I'm not going to say who that is. It's quite blatantly obvious when you see it, but it also is this yellow bunny was also the person that kidnapped Josh Hutchinson's younger brother. Conveniently, all ties in and stuff. I say there's something that happens really early on, and they called Josh Hutchinson's character Mike, and they never say his last name. And when Matthew Lillard reads his last name, something happens, and you kind of get a gist of where everything is going. So the puppets aren't really kind of evil, but they are evil, and it wasn't as scary. I mean, I do like practical effects. I think trying to move giant robots, especially with one of them that's skinny and stuff like that, it didn't quite have the scariness that it's supposed to be. It was very much kind of put this, this young lad who's struggling, who's trying to look after his sister, who's lost his younger brother, who's trying to find this kind of took more centre, and that yes, the creatures did go off and kind of kill people. They don't kill many people in the grand scheme of things, and it's all a bit of a muddle. But what can you do from a game where you're a security guard and you just shine lights to try and keep these creatures away? Yeah, they did a good attempt. I commend them for that. Honestly, I rate this 5 out of 10. It had a few elements that worked for it. It was an alright watch. It wasn't like I was hating it all. I say it was quite typical, the small cast and everything. You kind of knew where stuff was going. I say because it was a 15, you didn't get to see much blood or gore from Blumhouse, which was a bit of a shame. I think if they maybe upped this to an 18 and maybe took away the security guard's younger sister, maybe had something else going on, I think may have been a bit better. And then they've got kind of the jump scare, which is in regards to a taxi. And I mean, even the jump scare, I think there was 1 or 2 funny little bits in there, but for the most part, it was, I was in quite a packed cinema. There was a few people that laughed at some stuff, but it was very childish. The young teenagers. One, I'm not a young teenager, so I didn't laugh at that. And maybe this is more what this is suited for, because this would be the generation that have played these games. But it is what it is. Anyway, that has been my review of Five Nights at Freddy. Have you seen this film? Let me know in the comments below. If you did, what did you think? Did I miss something? Or that, please put your thoughts and feelings. Feel free. I'm always happy to read the comments. I go back on everyone. I'm interested to hear other people's opinions. Otherwise, I've been Cypher Signal Screen Time. Hope you enjoyed this review, and I shall see you next one.